From Studio 119A, The Exit Interview with Matthew Silva.
For nearly 3 decades, our guest has been a steady presence at the Jericho High School, serving the community in a variety of roles and helping shape the educational experience of thousands of students. His journey in Jericho began 29 years ago as a mathematics and physics teacher. Over the years, he would go on to serve as curriculum associate for science and technology, assistant principal, and ultimately co-principal of Jericho High School. Along the way, he worked alongside generations of students, teachers, staff members, parents, and community leaders, helping guide the school through periods of growth, achievement, and change. After 32 years in education, he has announced his retirement at the end of this school year. As he closes this chapter, we pause to reflect on a remarkable career and discover the experiences, influences, and decisions that helped shape the journey. Brian Cummings, welcome to the Exit Interview.
All right, sounds great.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Obviously, well, maybe it's not so obvious to some of our audience members, but you were my direct supervisor for 11 years, I think, right?
Probably give or take.
So the purpose of this show is to kind of just ask you a little bit about how you got here, but through the lens of sort of like a high school student. So take us back to the end of high school for Brian Cummings. What were your plans in the days leading up to your own graduation from high school?
Okay, I graduated Jericho High School in 1987. Loved high school, loved every part of it. Coming out of high school, I was originally going to be an engineer. I was going to mechanical engineering at Polytech, did 3 years there. After my junior year of college, I realized engineering wasn't the pathway I wanted to go into. So I decided to transfer to Cortland for a math education. And that's how I sort of ended up with math and science/physics certification, because through my first 3 years of college, I had all those engineering classes, a ton of physics classes. So when I graduated with my math degree from Cortland, I was certified in both.
So as a kid then, obviously you excelled in math classes and stuff like that.
That's one word to describe it.
Can you go into that a little more, actually? I've never asked you any of these questions. I'm just kind of curious.
In high school, I loved math and science. It was always easier for me than the humanities. I was a better mathematician than I was a reader. So I sort of gravitated towards those classes. As a kid, I was always tinkering with Legos and all the different building sets.
Did you have any engineers in your life? Like, what guided you in that thought process right there? Like, it was just, I do math,
yeah.
So I'm just going into this.
I was sort of in that direction. It was the 80s, so there was a lot of building and stuff like that by the government. And family, no engineers, a lot of accountants.
Okay. So now you do 3 years at college in this particular track, and then what happened? Like, what made you start to look at that? And because sometimes maybe people will go into the profession and realize, this isn't for me. But what was it about your college experience that kind of hinted to you that maybe you want to go?
In the back of my mind, it was always the backup plan was always teaching.
Okay.
And after taking a semester of vibrational analysis and a semester of thermodynamics, these heavy engineering classes, I realized that wasn't for me. I wanted to be around people a lot more. That weekend, I'm not even making this up, Thursday night, I went and watched Dead Poet Society in the movie theater. Friday, I was visiting Cortland with a friend who's, his girlfriend at the time was going there. Went to Cortland for the weekend, came. I shouldn't tell high school students this, but I did not go to my Monday classes at Polytech because I stayed at Cortland and met with an advisor. Asked them what I would need to do to transfer. It would cost me a whole year because you're not going to transfer as a senior. Stayed there, made classes on Monday, came home Monday night, and told my parents I was going to Cortland the next semester.
And they were supportive. Were there educators in your life in terms of like people, family members? Like, why was education the sort of like backup plan?
I loved high school.
Okay. You had good experiences, good relationships with teachers.
I had great teachers in Deer Park High School, great experiences. It was always something that I sort of almost went into. So after visiting Cortland, thinking about education classes, went to visit an education class that Monday.
And so then that coinciding with basically the release of
Dead Poets Society.
Dead Poets Society, you're seeing that and you're going, I want that.
Yeah,
right?
that's what I wanted to do.
That's interesting.
That's sort of the tipping point.
So you kind of shift your gears. You're getting a degree now in education, and so what was that transition, and how did your career in education actually begin? What was that path? What happened?
I graduated Cortland in 1992. Started subbing. I subbed in a couple of different schools. My first teaching gig was at I did some summer school opportunities in Babylon and Deer Park. I got a part-time job in Deer Park. I taught one period of middle school math lab, one period of what they called back in the non-Regents Earth Science in the high school. And I did the in-school suspension room for 3 periods. Did that for a year, and then got a full-time job the next year in Deer Park.
In Deer Park, all right. Your home district.
Where I grew up, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So then you're at Deer Park. You did 2...
I did the year part-time and 3 years full-time.
3 years full-time. You got tenure there.
Technically, to actually gang you have to
gotta
work one
show
day the
up
next year. I was approved for tenure, but I left there and came here.
So how did you land at Jericho? What's that story?
I had met the curriculum associate, the director at the time was at Farmingdale. I had interviewed for a job at Farmingdale the year before. Unfortunately, I didn't get it. He calls me up. I was sitting in my backyard at the time. There's an opening I'm going to Jericho. There are 2 openings. I would love for you to apply for one. If I get my way, if the 2 people I envision for this position, there's a guy I'm going to bring over from Farmingdale. You guys are perfect for each other. You guys are going to be best friends. Matt Demers. Years later, we're at each other's wedding parties, and that friendship has been ever since the day we started together.
Wow.
And I started with
amazing.
Mr. Clarkin, Mr. Dar, Mr. Darian, friends I've had forever.
So now you teach for a number of years.
I taught here for 15 years.
And what led you to find then administration? What were some of the decisions that brought you out of the classroom to then take on the role of administration?
Well, at the time I had done 15 years, and the reason why I was a right fit for this place is because they were looking for math and science, and they were looking for physics teachers. So I did both of the 15 years, I think I did 4 years I did a physics class. I would teach math the rest of the day. I did my administration degree. Mr. Grishman at the time said, you really should think about this. At the time, I was thinking about it. I'm like, okay, I'll give it a try. I'll try anything.
Sure.
Did my administration degree. I was finishing up my administration degree. Mr. Grishman calls me and he goes, just to let you know, Mr. DiMartino, the curriculum associate for science and
Gentleman
technology.
who hired me.
Yep, did science and technology education, is going to be retiring. Would you be interested in applying for this position? I said, I'm a math teacher. He goes, you'll be fine. I think I was okay.
I can remember I got hired here. I worked a year. Frank DiMartino retires. And somebody tells me, Brian Cummings is going to maybe be your boss. They're doing the little interview session with staff, and you can go meet him and interview him. And you worked at the high school. I worked at the middle school at that time. So I never heard of you. I didn't know who you were. And somebody said, this might be your boss, so you might want to weigh in on this. I'm young. I didn't know what was up. So I go to this meeting, and I sit there, and I meet you. You walk in. And I remember the other teachers who were your colleagues in the science department. I mean, they grilled you.
Yeah.
They really grilled you. And I remember sitting there being like, oh, wow, he seems like a nice guy. Like, this would be a great boss. And, there's a lot going on, I think, when your career's starting, so it's hard to pick up on all the dynamics and stuff. But I didn't know just how influential and how important it was going to be having you as my boss for all those years.
Thank you.
And you certainly helped shape this program, helped shape me as a teacher. And if I did the math correctly, you've been here longer than Mr. Grishman was even here.
No, he was here a year before me.
Oh, is that right?
I've been here, this is my 29th year.
So I didn't become a math teacher.
Yeah, I was here 29th year. Mr. Grishman hired me, I think, in his second year.
Oh, all right. But the equipment that we're shooting this on right now is because you said yes, because you believed in this program and believed in me, you know, and really always supported and trusted what I was doing. And I feel like my other colleagues through the tech department and in the science department can agree that that level of trust, that level of belief in your staff is something that, at least for me, always made me want to make you look good and make the school look good.
That.
And I'm definitely gonna miss you a lot. To me, this is a exit interview happening way too early, but glad that we could do this.
Thank you.
So thank you for supporting this program, supporting me as a teacher, supporting all of my endeavors, not just in the video class, but I remember distinctly, and I assume that on some level you were a teacher this way as well with your students. I remember expressing to you some far out ideas I had for some lessons, and not in this class, in other classes, and I was expressing some of my concern. There was going to be a very lengthy project, and if it didn't work out, was it worth it? And I remember you saying, "Hey, listen, you try it out, and if it doesn't work, it's okay. We'll make some modifications. We'll try something else." And again, that level of
I'm picturing the parklet.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. That level of trust, that level of experimentation, I really think it helped me and my other colleagues continue to be innovators, and I think it's really what helps make Jericho Jericho.
I always loved hearing ideas from teachers, supporting them. If you and your students thought this was something worthwhile trying, I was always more willing to try it. If we got halfway there, we got halfway there.
Yeah.
If it didn't work, you try something else.
Yeah.
But I always loved seeing teachers have ideas and to bring their students to another level. I think that's one of the things what made Jericho great.
I remember talking to you at some point, might have been before you became principal, co-principal, and I was expressing some concern about perhaps maybe you leaving the district, going somewhere else or something like that. And you talked to me how you wanted to be a building principal, that was like something that you kind of dreamt about early on, and then you got to become principal. And I think that you have embodied that role like the prototype of a good principal. I think that the kids and the culture, while you have been principal, has been really positive, and it's going to be a bummer having you go. But I'm glad that you got to have that here in essentially your stomping ground for the last 30 years. And
I mean, the fun thing is for us, yes, I'm retiring.
Yeah.
But our kids are friends. Our kids go to school together, so
yes,
we'll be able to see each other.
Mr. Cummings and I have children in the same grade, in the same district. They're in the same friend group to some extent, and we'll be spending time together on the bleachers at graduation at Comac High School one day, which is cool. One last question. What is a guiding truth or some sort of wisdom that you have, something that you've sort of carried with you as a truth that's helped you as a teacher, helped you in education, that you can impart on me, on the community here, that you want to share?
I think one of the things that really stands out for me in Jericho is that our whole goal was have students to have as much success as possible, academically, social emotionally, not just in this building, but moving forward. The fact that we treated every single kid individually, try to meet students what their needs were, their desires were. And really, I feel like we did that as well as we could. And I did it in the classroom, as a curriculum associate, as an assistant principal, and a co-principal. That was always my goal, to have students to have the most success as possible. And that's what I always tried to do.
Yeah, and I think you did that with your staff. I know I felt that. I've worked in 2 other districts, 3 buildings before I came here, I guess for 3 or 4 years, and I always felt that the culture here amongst the administrators was very collaborative, really supportive. You are a part of that legacy, and I just thank you for helping guide me in my career through these years. You've not only been a friend, you've been an incredible mentor, and I'm gonna miss you. I'm gonna miss having you here in the building. So again, congratulations on a fine career, and and friendship. And then I have to. Let's get camera one up here. But, oh, Captain, my Captain.
Thank you. Thank you, Matt.
My guy.
Do we have a microphone for me to drop? I'm out.
You can drop.